This is the Patriots Prayer Network, where truth matters.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra 360. Happy Hanukkah to everyone celebrating all over the country and the world, as well as a happy New Year to people that are celebrating all over the country and the world. I know for a fact that 2025 has already started for some countries out there in the world. My question to my audience is, how are you going to celebrate your January 2025 today? But I do want to state our condolences to the 39th President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. He passed away yesterday. Breaking, U.S. President Jimmy Carter has died at 100 years old. I don't know if people knew that he was that old. And that's actually very rare nowadays for somebody to live to 100 years old. So we do send our condolences to U.S. President Jimmy Carter. I do want to throw out this truth that President Donald Trump wrote immediately after finding that Jimmy Carter did pass away, and we'll show that right now. And I'll read it to the audience. I just heard of the news about the passing of President Jimmy Carter. Those of us who have been fortunate to have served as president understand this is a club, and only we can relate to the enormous leading the greatest nation. The challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude. Melania and I are thinking warmly of the Carter family and their loved ones during this difficult time. We urge everyone to keep them in their hearts and prayers. And I believe that that says it all. That says the message to everyone about who Jimmy Carter was, and that being president is very hard. And I think that President Trump had a very unifying message at that moment. Now, I can tell you for a fact, because I have a lot of friends that work in the government, that January 9th is going to be considered a federal holiday. All the federal workers will be off of work, and that is when the funeral procession of President Jimmy Carter will start, when they will walk him through down in D.C. They will put him into the halls of the rotunda where people can go and take a look at his grave, or not his grave, I'm sorry, his coffin, and eventually he will be put to rest. But January 9th will be the day that it'll be what they call a national holiday. They will be starting the funeral procession for President Jimmy Carter. As you all remember, Melania Trump actually went to the funeral of his late wife, Jimmy Carter's late wife, and paid her respects and condolences there. And again, that just shows you the type of person President Trump is, the type of person Melania Trump is, how we're so happy that we are going to have President Trump and Melania back in that White House to basically bring back the decorum that we've missed, basically to bring back the beauty of the White House. I'm so excited to see what Melania Trump is how she's gonna decorate the White House for Christmas next year, and the looks, the outfits that she's gonna be wearing, and all the wonderful designers that are gonna be designing her dresses, and how she's gonna look at the inauguration. And I can tell you from people that I've talked to all over this country and this nation, they are so excited about the inauguration. People are out tonight, they're gonna be celebrating New Year's, but New Year's will not be as special until President Trump gets inaugurated on January 20th. And a lot of things have happened in 2024. And now we start to feel a sense of the relief going into 2025. Again, we, the people, gave President Trump and Congress a mandate. We said, we're tired of open borders. We're tired of this gender identity crap. We're tired of the CRT agenda. We're tired of wokeism. We're tired of being censored. We're tired of losing our amendments, our First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. We're tired of the anti-Semitism that was happening all over college campuses. We're tired of these wars. We're tired of the reckless spending. And we the people voted in President Trump. We voted in incumbents in Congress, new senators, where the Republicans took back the Senate. And as you know, January 3rd, our new Congress gets sworn in. So we will have a Senate, Republicans will have the majority in the Senate. And then we have a very slim majority in the House of Representatives. And as you know, President Trump yesterday, he just endorsed Speaker Mike Johnson to be the speaker. And there's speculation that President Trump had a talk with Speaker Johnson. Speaker Johnson is not really that popular with a lot of MAGA Republicans. He's not very popular right now in the caucus. And President Trump right now, he wants the unification. He doesn't want the division before he gets in. And again, they're going to, January 3rd is when the new Congress gets sworn in. They're going to re-vote in Speaker Johnson for Speaker of the House, even though there was talk of removing him, because President Trump just wants to go into that White House with the unification. And we have 2 years, 2 strong years for President Trump to push his agenda forward. We don't need anybody deterring him from pushing that agenda forward. And if that agenda is heard, President Trump is a hammer and say, you're fired. And we, the people, are going to say, you're fired. We'll either primary you out or we'll vote you out. It's that simple. And I really believe, and a lot of people believe, that this administration is going to be tougher and stronger than ever before. President Trump has very strong people that are going to be working with him, and we're going to get the agenda pushed forward. President Trump also put a truth out today stating that the Senate Republicans, they better make sure that all of his appointments go through, because if they don't, it's going to be a hard time for President Trump to push his agenda forward. Again, it's about pushing the agenda forward. It's about America first. It's about keeping this beautiful movement that President Trump started and to accelerate it for the next 2 to 4 years. And again, we need a strong House here. We need a strong Congress here. We need strong Republicans in Congress to push President Trump's agenda forward. Because if not, President Trump will call you out. We'll make sure that you're voted out. He'll fire you. It's how it has to be. Also, President Trump and his chief of staff, Susie Somerville Wiles, has put out I don't want to say not a mandate, but she's put out something to his appointment and people that are going to be going into the Trump administration, people that are working for Doge, that if you are going to tweet out something or put anything on social media, it has to go through President Trump first and his team, because nobody speaks for President Trump. And that is Susan Wiles protecting President Trump at that sense, and also supporting the guy that is her boss. And it's very important that we are careful how we tweet, what we put on social media, because things can get misconstrued, things get misunderstood. So Susan Wiles has said to the people that are trying to get appointed through, because Democrats are looking at this, Senate Republicans, they look at social media too. The world is watching and looking at what his appointees are writing, what the people are writing out there that are going to be working for the Trump administration come January 20th. And we have to, Susie Wiles has to protect the president. She's got to make sure that the tweets are kosher or clean, and that it doesn't rally up, his base in the opposite direction. Again, we want to unify right now. The Republican Party needs to be more unified now than ever before. And if it's not, it's going to be a huge problem. It's going to be a huge problem, and we're not going to get things done. I can tell you that Speaker Johnson is not a Speaker Ryan. I can tell you that Speaker Johnson is going to fall in line with President Trump. He is. And I can tell you that the things that are going to be happening in Doge, the things that are going to be happening in the State Department, it's going to be different than ever before. Like I said, I know Kash Patel personally. I've had interactions with Thomas Homan. He's a personal friend of mine. He's going to go in there and he's going to just completely just take over. And he's going to work with Governor Kristi Noem, who I know personally as well. I know her husband. I've interviewed her husband. And she's going to go in there and work with Thomas Homan to get our country back on track. And We got Pam Bondi, who I know personally. Pam Bondi was my attorney general in Florida. I'm a Floridian, like she is. So I know a lot of the people that are going in. I know a lot of the great work that they've done. I've met Pete Hegseth too. He wants to rebuild the military, wants to get rid of the wokeness out of the military. I mean, these are things that we, the people, again, mandated. We, the people, said we are done. We are done with wokeism. We're done with the anti-Semitism. We're done with CRT. We're done with gender identity. We have thrown away the Biden agenda, the Hillary Clinton agenda, the Kamala Harris, the Tim Walz agenda, the Obama agenda, and we're pushing forward to a new generation. That's what 2025 is about. It's about moving forward. It's about moving forward. It's about the things that we, the American people, voted for. And again, if it doesn't happen, there's going to be hell to pay. It will be hell to pay. And you have to, and you have to look at the RNC here and what the RNC has done as well. What Chairman Michael Whatley did with Laura Trump. Now, Laura Trump has resigned. She's not going to be the RNC co-chair anymore. She stepped down, and they want Casey Crosby, who was the treasurer, to replace the RNC co-chair, and then Joe Gruters, who's my state senator. President Trump's already endorsed him to become the new RNC treasurer. And what was the three main things of the RNC? Because the RNC had a very pivotal role in getting President Trump elected. Their number one role was to surpass fundraising records, which they did, to build a large army of attorneys and poll watchers, which they did. I know a lot of people that were election law attorneys that worked for the Republican National Law Association that day on election day. And number three, to turn millions of Americans and low propensity voters to early voting. And I know a lot of us, voters, especially as hardcore Republicans, we don't like to do early voting, but it worked to our benefit. The Republicans went out in drones to early voting, more so than ever before. We outnumbered the Democrats in early voting. President Trump did early voting. I've done early voting before. My family did early voting for the first time, just to see the process, because a lot of people were concerned with early voting that the vote doesn't get counted. But I know for a fact that President Trump wants to put into federal law that we don't have early voting, that we have election day is a federal holiday. It's one day, no mail-in ballots. We go back to paper ballots. We count on the day, and that's it. And he's going to try to push that federally. He wants to get rid of the ballot harvesting that's going on in certain states. He wants for every single state, because the states that did not require, they all went to Kamala Harris. So that tells you everything. So, and of course, making sure that we have legal citizens voting in our elections, legal citizens of this country voting in our elections. And that is a big thing that he's going to try to do on the federal level. It again is up to the states level as well to do their job, and the state legislators to do their job to fix the election laws in their state. But these are things that we have to look forward to. These are things that President Trump is going to be working on going forward. He's still going to be working with the RNC on this, to making sure that we push his agenda forward, to make sure that we have the proper people in office, to make sure that his cabinet appointments go forward. And again, if they don't, it's going to be a very big problem. But again, what is your 2025 going to look like? I've set goals for myself. I hope every individual, all my audience members have set goals for themselves. President Trump said you have to love what you do and do what you love and never give up on your dreams. And that is the message and the goal for 2025. Coming up after the break, we have a great guest. Her name is Michelle Menendez. She's very familiar with the Maui fires. She's going to discuss all of that. She is based out of Hawaii. And she's also going to talk about the economy in Hawaii, how it's doing now, how it's going to do in the future. This is great for my audience members that are thinking about moving to Hawaii or currently live in Hawaii or have moved out of Hawaii and maybe want to move back. And this is going to be great for her to discuss how things are going on in Hawaii. And we'll be back right after the break.
Do you have old home videotapes that you're no longer able to watch? Need them transferred to DVD, Blu-ray, or your smart device? Baltimore Digital offers professional-grade VHS, mini DV, and high 8 digitizing services. We can also convert Super 8mm film too. Baltimore Digital also provides photo restoration services. Visit archive.baltimoredigital.net. Mention code Alexandra for a 10% introductory discount.
And that's my friend Adam Reuter. Go to archive.baltimoredigital.net. Say my name, Alexandra, and get 20% off. And as I said in the beginning of our show, Happy New Year to everybody. Happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah's still going on all over the country and the world. How are you celebrating your 2025 tonight? But we have a very special guest. Her name is Michelle Menendez. There she is. And she's going to tell us all about Hawaii, her life story, and we're going to bring her up right now.
Hey, aloha, everyone.
Aloha, I love it. Thank you so much for coming on Alexandra 360. I appreciate it.
Wow, mahalo for having me. It's getting the word out about the Maui fires, because what's going on over there in Lahaina is unbelievable, to be honest with you. Your audience is probably going to be pretty shocked about and learning that everything, it is still locked down. You guys, Lahaina is still locked down to this day. Right now, there are checkpoints. You can't get into the burn zone unless you live there and you have a placard that says that you live there. When you go past the gates, the guards say no pictures, no video. To this day, everybody. So I did write the book, Great Maui Land Grab: What Caused the Maui Fire and Is Your Home Next? And this won its first award under True Crime in the American Book Fest competition. And it's just basically sharing the truth, not only about the weather modifications, the 9 different weather events that were very questionable during and before the Lahaina fire, but the 27 fire anomalies that are shocking. It will shock people about what happened during that. In fact, I sent this book to a friend of mine in Oahu on the islands, and he was like, Michelle, I had no idea. And so I'm just really grateful to get this information out. And Alexandra, thanks so much for having me to help get this word out.
Of course. Well, Michelle, tell my audience exactly where you live and what compelled you to write a book about it.
So I live on the Big Island of Hawaii. My family's been here for 30 years. I moved here in 2019, and I've been a fitness and wellness expert. My first book won 4 awards. It's called End Dieting Hell, and that was in July of 2019. When the COVID happened in 2020, I realized that's why I'm here on the islands. Started speaking out against it, telling people masks help about as much as a chain link fence against a mosquito. Masks, that's how much a mask will help against a virus. Hand sanitizer, you guys, is actually poison for your microbiome, for your gut, because you have more bacteria on and inside of your body than you do cells of your body. You need bacteria to keep you healthy. So I was speaking out against that. And then what happened with the fires, as a client of mine, a private client was like, "What, Michelle, you okay? There's fires in Hawaii." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I started looking, I'm like, "What's going on?" Then when I didn't want to speak out at first, because a lot of people thought with my COVID, speaking out against COVID, people were telling me I was killing their people's grandmothers and all this stuff. And so I paused out of respect for those who lost their lives during the fire. But when the Hawaii governor went to the United Nations and said that the fire was because of climate change, that's when I was like, oh no, this is not happening. So I started interviewing fire captains, interviewed an because you guys have got to see some of these pictures. I have pictures in the book, but I also, if you want to share, I can share some pictures here. But there's a whole, the fire, you guys, jumped over a construction zone with 2x4s exposed, no singe marks, nothing was burned in the construction zone, but the parking lot next door melted the cars. It melted the rims off the cars, it melted the glass out, but all the trees were left standing. So how is that possible? And I asked the arborist, I said, how is it possible that a fire doesn't burn trees? And he said, Michelle, it's because the chemistry of the fire doesn't recognize the organic material. He said he believed that it was a microwave frequency, a chemical microwave frequency fire, and a microwave doesn't burn organics. This is why humans were left recognizable in a fire. This was why dogs were left recognizable. And the pictures are in my book, Great Maui Land Grab Book.com, Great Maui Land Grab Book.com. People can get that. But you can literally still see people's hair. You can see the corn rolls in somebody's hair. In a dog, you can see their fur, their ears, their paw pads, but they're dead. They're like charred, just black. And that's literally, it's impossible in a real fire. So this is the second edition of this book, because I did add the weather modification that happened with Hurricane Helene. There is a tornado and hurricane control device patent, you guys, a patent. and it was abandoned, which means that the inventor abandoned it, which means it was open for people to use, and it has sound frequency that moves air mass. And Dane Wigington of geoengineeringwatch.org did a great video on showing this capability. So there was that. Also, I don't, your audience would probably be interested to know that Bill Gates in 2009, ABC News reported that Bill Gates was known as the hurricane tamer because he, along with 12 other inventors, created a patent to reduce the intensity of hurricanes. So my question is, why didn't he use it? Why hasn't he been using it? You know, if he did this patent, he wants to be a hero. You know, why isn't he using this? So there's been over 200 weather modification patents from 1891. The 1891, you guys, was the first patent. It is set cloud seeding to start rain, 1891, and then all the way up to 2014. After 2014, they're no longer showing the weather modification patents that are being released. It's really interesting. So so there's that, and then we can talk about direct energy weapons as well, because there's over 429 direct energy weapon patents. You guys, everything from Raytheon to the Boeing company own. There's about 4 other companies that own these direct energy weapon patents, and there's over 429 direct energy weapon patents available. And that there was an act that went through Congress in 2016. 2016, there was a Direct Energy Weapon Systems Acquisition Act that went through Congress because since the 1960s, they have been spending over $6 billion. Can you imagine that in the 60s? Over $6 billion on direct energy weapon systems. And the Department of Defense was worried that they weren't going to be able to bring the direct energy weapons systems program to full acquisition. So Congress took it over in 2016, and American tax dollars helped to fund and finish the direct energy weapons systems program so it could be brought to acquisition. And now, in my research and my belief, is that it's being used on the people, not just in America, but around the world.
Well, let me ask you, Michelle, how has the fires affected the economy where you live and in the state of Hawaii as a whole?
Well, the economy here is it's a lot more expensive. It's a lot more expensive because people after COVID and during COVID actually started moving here. It's the traffic has gotten a lot worse. The prices of real estate are have gone up quite a bit. And what's happening with the Hawaii General Plan? Again, I live on the Big Island, and we're speaking out against the Hawaii General Plan because the Hawaii General Plan has basically the United Nations 2030 agenda in it, and they want to literally make most of the Big Island conservation land, which means only a park can be on it. They also want to turn a lot of land into what's called natural land, which means no park, no farming, no building, no people living on it. Natural, nothing happening but just nature. And then rural, which I believe is going to set the stage for the smart cities. I think the rural areas that they want to turn into rural is going to be a buffer zone. So we've been fighting against this for the past 6 months, trying to stop this Hawaii General Plan. And I just want to encourage all of your watchers and listeners, look at your general plan, because what's coming in from communism is going to be coming through the general plan. So the economy here is astronomical. We have eggs that are $9 a dozen. So it's the pricing here is very, very expensive. And, you know, I really feel that each one of us is guided to be where we need to be. And I was just guided here, and I just know that the work I'm doing is needed here on the island as well as in the world.
Well, let me ask you, Michelle, because as you know, a new administration is coming in. We're going to get a new Department of Energy head, a new Department of Agriculture head. What is your expectation for the new administration coming in 2025 to help your situation, to help Hawaiians all over your entire state?
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm crossing my fingers about it. I have somebody who believes, you know, oh, there's not going to be any smart cities because we have a new administration. And I tell them, I said, you know, the people still need to stand up. we still have to do our part. We have what we call our kuleana. It's our what is ours to do, our responsibility. So we do have to go. We can't just expect everything's going to happen for us and we're going to be saved and nothing's, there's not going to be any smart cities and all this stuff. We can't expect that. We have to stand up and go to our county council meetings, go to our planning commissioner meetings, tell them no, we do not comply with what is wanting to be proposed on our island, in our state, in our town, because I think it's our responsibility to do that. I'm crossing my fingers that everything is going to work out. I trust in the higher power because I do know this is absolutely a spiritual war, and I'm still doing my part. I'm not sitting on my butt thinking that I'm going to be saved, because I know in the end, the trickle down theory kind of doesn't really happen a lot of times, and the poorest people, our homeless here is really bad. We have local Hawaiians, native Hawaiians. They're supposed to get land from the state, and it's called Hawaii homelands, and they're literally, it's disgusting, they sit on this list for decades until they die. And then what's supposed to happen, this list is supposed to give them Hawaii homelands, Hawaii land. But the state, they wait on this list, and then the person dies and it doesn't get transferred to their family members. Their part of what they would have gotten from the state through Hawaii homelands goes back to the state. So I think what's happening is just it's just really something that people need to stand up for their own community. Trust that you're going to be taken care of. Trust in this administration and do your part. Stand up for your area. Look at your general plan. See what's coming and still make a voice for yourself and for your family.
Well, I have a question for you. Are you thinking of running for office? Because you're very strong about your community and what you do. I think you'd be great, in my opinion.
I've been asked that before. I love what I do. I'm still a fitness trainer. I still do, my website's Blossom Inner Wellness. I have a lot of, I'm helping people write their own books. I'm kind of considering it in the back of my mind, but also, I'm not sure, Alexandra. I'm not sure. It's a sticky one.
I do have one question for you in terms of wellness, because as you know, on New Year's, everyone's resolution is to lose weight, to be fit. A lot of people are on Ozempic, or they're taking some type of tirzepatide to lose weight. What is your New Year's resolution for those people that are always trying to be fit and well? And also, we're having RFK Jr. coming in. He's all about clean eating and getting rid of the chemicals and the dyes out of your foods. And I'll tell you, I personally am on the RFK Jr. diet. I've lost 20 pounds from it because I just started to look at what's in our food and all the chemicals and dyes that are in our food. So what's your advice for people that want to lose weight and people that want to kind of tone up?
Yes. Well, again, I wrote the book End Dieting Hell, How to Find Peace in Your Body and Release the Weight. It's won 4 different awards. You can find it on Amazon. So my first thing to tell people is to detox. You've got to detox and cleanse out your liver and your colon. Those are the two most important for weight, but also for your emotions. Your gut is called your second brain. And it actually, if your gut is toxic with, there's so many different toxins around, and you've got to be, we've got to be detoxing and cleansing out regularly. Also, the other thing that people don't realize is that we get parasites, microscopic parasites, and that actually also affects your emotions. And then so we've got to be detoxing from that. So that's the first thing I put people on when they do my programs is cleansing, is doing a detox cleanse. And then the second thing we do, and the reason why the book has won so many awards, is because weight loss, trying to lose weight, especially somebody who's struggled with their weight most of their life or struggles with self-esteem and body image issues, it's not about food and exercise. It's about emotional trauma that's stuck in your body. There's actually something, some story, some situation that happened in your past that has kept the frequency of you not feeling good enough, and that will sabotage your weight loss. So I became a weight loss specialist in 2007, and then I realized that every time I would help people lose weight, which was really easy to do. I've helped people lose 50 pounds, 20 pounds, in 5 weeks. I mean, it's just like, it was no problem helping people lose weight. The problem was keeping it off. And the women would self-sabotage themselves. And that's when I was like, why Why are they self-sabotaging? What's going on? What am I missing as a coach that I can't help them maintain this? And that's when I discovered after researching that it's not about diet and exercise. It's about emotional trauma, and that the body is actually conditioned to sabotaging and not feeling good enough, because your body, the personality doesn't know who they would be living in a body that they love, actually looking in the mirror and enjoying what they see. So that is where we go to next. So the first is detoxing, cleansing out all the gunk, cleansing out, killing the parasites, microscopic. And I've had microscopic parasites too. I knew something was off, didn't know what it was, got my blood checked, found out I had candida and microscopic parasites. That's why I had to go to the bathroom all the time. Cleansed out that. Now my bladder's normal and my thoughts are clearer. You know, that's also parasites are going to cause emotional a fogginess in your brain, and also lack of sleep. So things like that. So those are the two things I would start with. But then you got to go, if you're somebody who struggled with your weight most of your life, you've got to, I call it integrate your emotional trauma to find peace in your body. Because if you don't do that, then that emotional trauma is still going to run your personality and sabotage your weight loss goals.
Wow, I just learned something new. That is amazing. That is awesome. Please, Michelle, tell my audience how we can find you, your handles, how we can get your amazing books.
So Blossom Inner Wellness, Blossom, and then INNER, innerwellness.com is my website. I am doing my End Dieting Hell. It's a 4-month program. You'll get a signed copy of my book. You can also get the End Dieting Hell on Amazon, End Dieting Hell. And then the Great Maui Land Grab, you can get on Amazon, but you can also get at greatmauilandgrabbook.com. And if you put truth into the coupon code, you get 10% off of the book. This is something that's really good to give to even normies who don't know what the heck's going on, but they're curious about what happened with Maui. It's really questionable. I mean, even especially the children, the number of deaths, all of it is just horrible. But what's great about this book is that chapter 10 goes into who owns America. Who owns America and what we can do about it. Because the elite bankers, the foreign bankers, have been running this country for a very, very long time. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the new administration does. And I'm looking also forward that the knowingness of that comes out, the truth of that. You know, Tulsi Gabbard was the first politician I've ever seen say that the military-industrial complex is part of running this country, because the foreign bankers, they own the military-industrial complex, they own the IRS, all the money that's going to Ukraine and to all these other countries. People think they get mad. Oh, we're helping Ukraine. No, you guys, that's not the point. The reason why all those billions of dollars is going there is because it's going to come back into the elite bankers, into the military industrial complex through contracts. BlackRock got the contract to rebuild Ukraine. So they're getting billions of dollars of taxpayers' money that went to Ukraine, then goes into BlackRock's pocket, and then goes into the foreign bankers who own BlackRock. And BlackRock owns the Hawaii Electric Company. BlackRock owns the North Carolina Electric Company. So you guys, it's all contract based. It's laundering money through these countries that's going back into the banker's pocket. So it's something that people, I'm looking forward to the administration bringing that out. And Tulsi Gabbard was the first politician I've ever seen start to speak about that. And I was really excited about that.
And we pray to God that she gets confirmed as the new D&I director. That is going to be amazing. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on. You are a wealth of knowledge, and I'd love to have you come on again when the new administration gets rolling. We can talk about Tulsi Gabbard and her new position. And thank you so much for coming on, and we will be right back after the break.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio personality. Since 2015, I've been a volunteer, a field director, and a campaign manager, learning the ins and outs of the political world. That's why I became a political consultant. My job is to lead you to victory with organization, structure, and the mindset of winning for your district or state. With my guidance and direction, I can keep you focused on the things that matter to the people and advise you on key issues that need to be addressed. If you're a serious candidate that is serious about winning, then book a consultation with me today. Go to levineconsulting.co. You'll be happy you did.
everyone. It's Alexandra Levine with Alexandra 360. That is me. I own my own political consulting firm, levineconsulting.co. That's levineconsulting.co. It is the new year. If you are a serious person thinking about running for political office on the state, federal level, I even work on the local level as well, please go to levineconsulting.co and book a consultation with me today. And speaking of someone who I think should run for office, was my guest that I had, Miss Michelle Menendez, wealth of knowledge in Hawaii. Please go to her website, blossominnerwellness.com. You can also get her book. She's the author of The Great Maui Land Grab. You can go to the Great Maui Land Grab book.com, put in code truth, and you get 10% off. She also is a fitness and wellness and nutritionist specialist, and she has some great insight into diets and into your inner self. And if you are emotionally set yourself, if you are emotionally, just you're not a hardcore emotional person, you can control your emotion, you can control your diet, helping yourself and losing weight in a very efficient way without constantly struggling. So again, if please go to blossominnerwellness.com, if I can get it out, and go to the Great Maui Land Grab book.com. Use the word truth as the promo code. You get 10% off. That is my challenge to my viewers today, part of your New Year's resolution, besides losing weight, which everybody likes to do. And the gym memberships I would say the owners of the gym, they're so happy after I keep saying 4th of July, after New Year's and 4th of July. Especially New Year's, because that's the time when everybody wants to go to the gym and lose weight and look good. That's your New Year's resolution. But we have to take care of ourselves. And again, our New Year's resolution is we have a new administration coming in. It's a whole new ball game. Things are going to be different than 2017. We got a new Congress coming in. We got the Senate the Republicans are taking back the Senate. We have some great new senators coming in. And that is what President Trump wants. He wants us to all work together, to all unite. He's tired of the division. He's tired of the infighting. And we have to push President Trump's agenda forward. Early in the program, I also have some slides I wanted to show, some tweets that President Trump has also put out there. One was a Merry Christmas message that he put out. Billy, if you could show, that'd be great. Oh, that's about the borders. That was specifically and how we need to fix our borders, that's why we have Thomas borders are with Kristi Noem as the DHS secretary. And we're going to weed out all the criminals, just weed them out first. And then President Trump will look into, people that have been living here for 20, 30 years, that have a worker's visa here, that have been here for a significant period of time. He's going to look at those people, but he's going to get rid of the criminals first. Then he also said, are the Democrats allowed to pay $11 million, $2 million, $500,000 to get the endorsement of Beyonce, Oprah, and Reverend Al Sharpton? I don't think so. Beyonce didn't sing. Oprah didn't do much of anything. She called it expenses. And Al is just a third-rate con man. So what is going on here? Totally against the law. And I have heard there are many others. That's what the Democrats do. I mean, Kamala Harris, she gave all of these, she had all these big celebrities come and endorse her, like Taylor Swift and J-Lo. In exchange, she was supposed to, but her campaign is in massive amounts of debt. She didn't record it. When you run for office, you must record everything. It's called a campaign finance expense report for a reason. And there's a lot of legalities going against Kamala Harris and her campaign right now. President Trump's hashtag had enough. President Trump actually made the sarcastic laugh saying, if the Democrats can't pay their bill, I'll pay the bill for them. But he ran a very good campaign. He didn't he didn't go into financial debt. He was tremendously outspent with everything that he did with the people. It benefited him in the end. The concept of too big to rig was something that President Trump pushed throughout his entire campaign. He wanted it to be too big to rig, and it was too big to rig. And the Democrats did try to rig a lot of the Senate seats. They did try to rig. They tried to rig a lot of the congressional seats out in California. The fact that we had been waiting for months and months for ballots to be counted in the state of California, Michigan, Wisconsin. It shows you how corrupt a lot of these elections are in these states. That's why President Trump wants to make a federal mandate that election day is on the day. No more mail-in ballots. Get rid of the ballot harvesting. Early voting. He even talked about getting rid of early voting too, because he wants everybody's vote to count fairly. He wants everything to be counted on the day. Make election day a federal holiday. Everybody get off of school, get off of work, go and vote one day, count it up, paper ballots, peace be done. They do that in France. They do that in a lot of countries, and their system is the strongest ever. I mean, France gets it right. So it's a real problem. It's a real problem. And the country needs, and the governors of these states need to get on board. The state legislators need to get on board, and they need to fix their election laws. This is crazy. This is crazy that they're not following the laws of the Constitution. But you have to think of the people that are in power. Gavin Newsom, Governor Whitmer. I mean, these are hardcore liberal Democrat governors that really don't give a darn about we the people. And we have another meme that President Trump put up. President Trump is actually, he wants to push, there we go, a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. Now, me personally, I'm in favor of term limits. I actually had a conversation with my uncle during Hanukkah. He said one thing that our founding fathers forgot to put in our Constitution is to have term limits for Congress. Because look what's happening. We've had Nancy Pelosi in there. She's 84 years old. We had Dianne Feinstein in there. She has dementia. There's, I think, another congresswoman from Texas. She's been MIA because she has dementia. Chuck Schumer, he's getting up there in age. Joe Biden, I mean, he's 81 years old. I mean, he was a senator for a long time. And we have a lot of people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s that are congressmen, women, people in their 90s that are senators. I mean, this is crazy. This is insane. And the problem is when you don't have term limits in Congress, you're voting in the same people every 2 years. You're getting the same agenda, and you're not bringing in fresh blood in there. Will Congress ever agree to that? Will they have enough votes to push this agenda forward? Will President Trump have the support to push this legislation forward? I hope so, but I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people in Congress that pledge that they believe in term limits, and they've been in Congress for 16 to 20 years. So why doesn't these congressmen and senators that say that they believe in term limits, why don't they practice what they preach, and why don't they resign after 4 years or 6 years or 8 years? I mean, if you're a senator and you've been in there for 6 years and you really can't get your agenda done, I mean, then you shouldn't have been in there to begin with. But if you're in there for 6 years, you should be able to get something done, more than something done within 6 years. If you're a congressman, you should at least have something done within 4 years. After 4 years, peace, goodbye. You should not be in there for 20 to 30 to 40 years because we keep getting these shifts in power. Hakeem Jeffries is very close to being the next Speaker of the House in 2 years. You really want a Hakeem Jeffries as your Speaker of the House? That man is a radical leftist. He hangs out with terrorists. He supports Hamas. He supports CARE. He won't say that in person, in public, but private he does. He's not to be trusted. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Look what's going on there. She's corrupt. Adam Schiff, he's corrupt. Now Adam Schiff is a senator of California. How long is he going to be in California? Well, he should be fired. He shouldn't be there. He had an affair with a Chinese spy. I mean, this is real life, folks. I want these congressmen and these senators that have said, I believe in term limits, to put a term limit on themselves. To say, you know what, after 4 years, I'm going to resign. You know what, I've been here for 6 years as a senator, U.S. senator, I'm going to resign. Or 12 years maximum, peace. You don't need to be there till you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s. You don't need to be there for 20 to 30 years. It's about the American dream, passing it on to the next generation. I know some great young men and women in their 30s and 40s that would love to be congressmen. But the issue is that they're in there for so many years. So many years. Yeah, Billy, the producer just said, Robert Mugabe is a very good example. He was president of Zimbabwe over 30 years and he wrecked the country. That's correct. When you are constantly in a position of power for years and years and years and years and years, you eventually destroy and ruin the country. You ruin your county, you ruin your district, you ruin your state. We have term limits on the president. We have term limits on governor. We need term limits on Congress. We need it. It's not just a libertarian position. There's a lot of conservatives that believe in this. There's even moderate Democrats and independents that believe in this. Because if we keep having the same people in there, we're going to get the same results. And then you have people that claim that they're hardcore conservatives, and we find out later on that they're rhinos. Mitch McConnell's been in there for how long? It's time for him to resign or to be voted out. Lindsey Graham, he's done some damage. He's been there for far too long. Jerry Nadler, it's because they're obsessed with power. Obsessed with power. That's the problem. They don't want to leave because they're obsessed with power. And they're afraid that if whoever the replacement is, whether it's a Democrat or of the opposite party, a Republican, oh my God, everything they put into place will be null and void. No, maybe it'll be for the better. Sorry that you don't want to be upstaged for doing a terrible job in your state or your district. But seriously, that is a New Year's resolution, to push for term limits in Congress. That's why there's so much infighting right now in the Republican Party, because you have too many people in there that are not doing for we the people. Again, you work for us, we don't work for you. We voted you in, and we can vote you out just as easily. But again, my challenge to Congress is put term limits on yourself. Put it on yourself. If you've already been a senator in there for 20, 30, 40 years, you might think of leaving. If you've been a congressman in there for 20 or 30 or 40 years, you might want to think about leaving. It's not fair. It's not fair to the other people that want to actually do for we the people. As a political consultant, I'm in the process of recruiting candidates for 2026 and 2028. I have fresh young blood that believes in the America First agenda, that believes in this country, that loves their constituents, that wants to get into Congress to do what their constituents are begging you to do, and you're not doing it. So if you're not doing it, pass the torch to someone who will. Allow the people that I work with and I recruit with to get in there and do the job for the people. It's time. It's time we get fresh people. And we need people that haven't been in office for years and years and years. I talk to people that are construction workers. I talk to people that own businesses, small businesses, big businesses. I've talked to people that own liquor stores that want to run for office. I've talked to people that are financial advisors, lawyers, doctors that want to run for office. I've talked to people that are farmers that want to run for office. They want to get into these positions because they care about we the people, but they can't do it because they have the same guy in there for 20 to 40 years. And again, we the people, we can't keep electing someone that's been in there for 20 to 30 to 40 years. Again, the mandate was to start anew. The mandate was to get rid of the old. Out with the old, in with the new. So let's get some new people in there. Let's get some fresh blood in there. And let's push the right people in office. Stop voting for the same people. If you see that there's a state delegate or a state senator in your district that has health problems, you may want to convince him to leave. You may want to say, you know what? You were in there for such and such. Your health is not really doing well. Maybe you want to pass the torch to someone else. I see that. In different states, their health is not doing well, but they continue to run. They continue to run. They don't want to leave. It's not right. It's not right. Pass the torch. You did what you had to do. You were in there for 4 years, 4 years, 16 years, 30 years, whatever. It's time to pass the torch. It's time to pass the torch. And that's what we the people need to push. If you are someone that really wants to run for office, whether it's on the state, local, federal level, and you know that there's somebody that's currently a state senator, state delegate, Congress that's been there for too long, challenge them to leave. See if they believe in term limits. See if they've said that they believe in term limits or say that they approve of term limits. And then hold them accountable for staying in there for 16 to 20 to 30 years. That's my challenge to you guys. And then I also want to post the Merry Christmas truth that President Trump put up for everybody. Billy, if we have that, there we go. Merry Christmas. Sorry, I was waiting for a tweet to go up. Merry Christmas to all, including to the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in its building 110 years ago. And the funny thing is that Meghan McCain, who's John McCain's daughter, she actually agreed with President Trump on this because her father is from the Panama Canal. He said, always making certain that the United States puts in billions of dollars in, quote, repair money, but we'll have absolutely nothing to say about, quote, anything. Also to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high. But if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses would immediately double in size. They'd be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. I don't think President Trump likes Prime Minister Trudeau. Neither do I. I have a lot of friends and family from Canada. They've actually left Canada. They are not Canadian citizens anymore. They became American citizens, got American citizenship, and they are feeling much better. Justin Trudeau is a socialist, and he needs to get out he needs to resign. He's terrible. Going back, likewise to the people of Greenland, which is needed by the United States for national security purposes, and who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. So President Trump wants to take back Greenland, the Panama Canal. He's also talked about taking back Iceland as well. Page 2, Merry Christmas to the radical left lunatics who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections and are always going after the great citizens and patriots of the United States, but in particular, their political opponent, me. They know that their only chance of survival is getting pardons from a man who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. Also to the 37 most violent criminals who killed, raped, and plundered like virtually no one before them, but were just given incredibly a pardon by sleepy Joe Biden. I refuse to wish a Merry Christmas to those lucky, quote, souls, but instead will say, go to hell. We had the greatest election in the history of our country, a bright light and now shining over the USA. And in 26 days, well, it's less now, we will make America great again. Merry Christmas. That was the truth of the century, guys. I loved that truth. That truth explained everything. That truth explains the President Trump agenda, what he's thinking and feeling, how he really feels, how he wants to get the criminals out of here, how he wants to eliminate the sex trafficking, the child trafficking, the human trafficking that's going on here. How he wants to arrest the drug cartels that have been flooding into our country for years under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Remember, Kamala Harris was supposed to be the border czar. Yeah, right. And also get rid of the fentanyl. There's tremendous amount of fentanyl that has been poured into our country over the years. That's where Thomas Homan comes in as the real border czar, to eliminate the fentanyl that has been coming into our country, that has been killing innocent people, innocent Americans, our young people. They get a hold of the fentanyl and they die from it. It is a lethal opioid. It's a lethal drug. It can kill you instantly, especially if you people overdose on this thing all the time. I mean, there's so many fentanyl deaths from children in this country. I remember, I think it was like, I want to say 22 to 30 kids a day die from fentanyl. It's not good. It's too many. And our young people are getting a handle of it and a hold of it. And that's why we need to eliminate the drug cartels in this country. And we need to close the border. Also, what is President Trump's agenda to do? What does he want to do? He wants to lower the inflation. He wants to open up the Keystone pipelines. That's where we become energy independent again. That was a big thing that he did for us in 2017. He wants to do it again. Yeah. Billy just said he saw a fentanyl overdose and he wished he could unsee it. It's ugly. I've never personally seen one, but I've talked to women. We have Ann Funder, her son died of a fentanyl overdose. We know her story. I mean, there's so many stories of kids that have died from fentanyl. And if you ever, God forbid, you witness it, oh my God. I mean, I can only imagine. I can't imagine. And my condolences go out to the family. My condolences out to anybody who has witnessed that. It is horrific. You never want to see your child die of that. But one of the biggest things that Trump wants to do is stop the wars, lower our national debt. That's really important to him. And he doesn't want to cut Medicare and Social Security like the Democrats talk about, which is a lie. President Trump has also emphasized no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. That's something that he is new that he's implemented into his agenda. And he wants Europe to respect us again. And you saw when he went to Notre Dame that Emmanuel Macron, how President Trump shook his hand and brought him in as a source of power, and how he is telling Vladimir Putin, these wars need to stop. And he's told Zelensky too, the wars need to stop. President Trump is working with Bibi Netanyahu to implement peace in the Middle East. I know for a fact that once President Trump gets back in, we will be expanding the Abraham Accords, which Netanyahu wants to call the Abraham Alliance. Saudi Arabia is the next country to be signed onto that list, as many others. President Trump, he had a huge amount of Muslim Americans that voted for him. And you can actually thank his, what we say in Hebrew, his machatenen, his in-laws. Tiffany Trump, as you know, married to a very well-to-do family from Lebanon. Her father-in-law owns the motor vehicles, and he's Lebanese Christian, and he's actually going to be working on the Muslim envoy, special Muslim envoys in the White House. But also, her father-in-law, Tiffany Trump's father-in-law, was instrumental and astronomical in bringing a lot of Muslim Americans to vote for President Trump and to support his agenda. I think President Trump at one time got a huge endorsement from a big Muslim American community in Michigan and Minnesota, where there's a big hub of Somali Muslims and a big hub of Muslims in Michigan. But a lot of Muslim Americans have come around to support President Trump because of Tiffany Trump's father-in-law and Tiffany Trump's husband. And we also want to say congratulations to Tiffany Trump. She's pregnant. She's about 5 months pregnant now. I think this will be President Trump's 13th grandchild. So we want to wish Tiffany Trump and her, health and happiness for the child. We hope that Tiffany has a very not a painful labor. We hope that everything goes well for her. This will be her first child with her husband, and hopefully many more to come. But President Trump also wants to put Mexico on check, wants to put Canada on check. As you know, he signed the USMCA, the United States-Mexico-Canada Alliance, the trade agreement, and he's putting China on check too. He's telling China and Mexico, you want to tax us? We're going to freaking tariff the crap out of you. We're tired of this. There's people from China that are owning American farmland. This is crazy. A foreigner, a Chinese person comes into Texas or comes into Iowa and steals your farmland from you. And you're just supposed to say, okay. No, that's American land. That's our land. That's our land that foreigners are trying to take from us. It's enough. I couldn't believe I'm hearing this and I'm reading this. Chinese farmland all of a sudden. No, that's messing up the farmers. I have massive amounts of farmers that live in the Texas area. They're tired of it. I have friends that live in Des Moines, Iowa that own farms, and people that live in Idaho that have potato farms. They're tired of it. They're tired of the Chinese, and they're tired of foreigners taking over their land. This is our land. And President Trump is putting these people on check. You continue to take our land from us? No, thank you. We will tariff the crap out of you. And again, this is the new year. This is what President Trump implemented in his campaign. This is what we, the people, voted for. This is what we, the people, are going to get. And if we, the people, don't get it, we will call anybody out that doesn't provide. But at this time, let President Trump get inaugurated. Let his appointments go through. We can put the pressure on the Senate Republicans to make sure that his appointments go through. But this new year, especially today, we have to come together as one. We have to unite. January 20th is going to be a beautiful day for all of us. We must continue to pray for the president and his family. There's always a hidden agenda. We just want to get him there. We just want to get President Trump there. January 20th, I want to see him sworn in. I have requested that he has a glass partition in front of him when he gets sworn in with his family. I do not want him sworn in an open setting. He's got to have glass. He's got to have glass protection with him. He's got to have glass protection with him the entire week of the inauguration, from the inaugural balls leading up to January 20th. Anywhere he goes, anywhere he speaks, if he's outside, he's got to have that glass partition. When he gets sworn in, when he gives his inauguration speech, I have requested that he has glass partition in front of him. It is very important we protect that man. We protect his family. But we the people can't just sit back and be complicit. We the people, like Michelle Menendez, we have to get up off our butts and do something about it. We have to make sure that his agenda is implemented. We have to make sure that we vet proper people to get in on to run for our local level, our state, our federal level, our congressional level, gubernatorial level, senatorial level, all of that. We have to make sure that President Trump's agenda pushed through, because grassroots coalition that he had, RNC, it'll all be for nothing. We have to get off our butts and work just as hard as President Trump has worked hard for us, because he cannot do it alone. He's only one man. And I want to know who's coming to the inauguration. I'm going to the inauguration. I want to know from my audience who's planning on going to the inauguration, who's planning on seeing President Trump getting sworn in. But also, I want to know your New Year's resolutions. I know a lot of people are not really into New Year's resolutions. I've asked over the years. I'm Jewish. I've already had my Jewish New Year, but I do celebrate our American New Year. But what is your resolution? What do you want out of 2025? I know that under the Trump administration, I got to sing on stage. I got to perform all over the country and the world. I was asked to sing at multiple different political events. That's happening for me again. I will be going back on that stage. I will be singing. I will be performing. I'm at the prime and the pinnacle of my operatic career. In addition to everything else that I do, I'm also an entrepreneur, as you know. I own multiple businesses, and I do multiple things. But I also, my life is to sing. My life is to be on the stage. I own Alexandra Levine Inc., alexandra-levine.com, Potomac Sports Entertainment Network. That, to me, is part of my destiny. And again, President Trump always said you have to love what you do and do what you love and always fulfill your dreams. So what is your New Year's resolution dream? Is it to lose weight? Is it to get married? Is it to get a better job? What is it? I challenge a lot of the young people in my generation between ages of 25 to 40. If you are one of those people that have been like dating your girlfriend or your boyfriend for years and years and years, what's the holdup? Get engaged, get married, have children, because 30 turns like that, 35 comes like that, 40 can come like that, 45 can come like that, and then you won't be able to have children because you'll be going through menopause and all your life has been wasted. So if you're one of those people that have been dating for a long time, make the New Year's resolution to propose to your girlfriend. Make the if you've been married for a few years, make the resolution to have children if you can. Do something different in your life. Do something different. Change something about yourself. Get in touch with yourself. Like Michelle said, let's remove the stress from our lives. Things should be better. I know a lot more, like I said, a lot more people feel relief into the White House. So again, our New Year's resolution is to support the America First agenda, to do something different with your life, to challenge yourself. Again, if you're a congressman or a senator, challenge yourself. Maybe 20 years, maybe it's time that I resign, term limit myself, and let's come together as one and let's get ready. Let's get ready for a new administration. Let's get ready. Let's get ready to thrive again. Let's make America wealthy again. Let's make America rich again. Let's make America great again. Let's keep America great. Let's look great. Let's feel great. And let's enjoy our lives for the next 2 to 4 years. And that's the show today. That's the message. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot. Happy New Year, everybody.